Gilasi, welcome, bienvenue, Falcha. It is our great privilege to be gathered here on the unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our 2017 Spring Convocation. My name is Dr. David Young from the Faculty of Education, and I will be your Master of Ceremonies today. As a courtesy to graduates and speakers, kindly ensure cell phones are turned off. Please remain standing for O Canada, which will be sung by Janet Bessignel in English, French, Gaelic, and Mi'kmaq.
Ô Canada, terre de nos aïeux, ton front est saint, des fleurons glorieux, Sorjek Sialulek, Megidel Mulek, Kisnegauganiye. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, durach dachri, sonas leshi es maes ye darjir. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Please be seated. Dr. Susan Crocker, Chancellor of the University. May it please you, Madam Chancellor, to open convocation.
Good morning. I am honored to open and preside over the Spring 2017 Convocation of St. Francis Xavier University. Welcome graduates, members of the St. Hevex community, parents, and guests. Graduating class of 2017, you represent everything the founders of this university could have dreamed of and more. Your academic achievements have qualified you to be in this great hall today with your peers. But so much more brought you to this place. Your personal drive and aspirations, the encouragement and support and mentoring that you have received from family, friends, and faculty, and the opportunity that was provided by this wonderful university for you to find a path of studies that interested you and that kept you engaged and committed. Now you have embraced the total St. Hevex experience and in your own unique way. You came here 4 or so years ago. So what was going on in 2013? It seems so long ago. Well, you arrived in Antigonish as the iTunes store was turning 10. And the word selfie was about to be declared Word of the Year by Oxford Dictionary. We were also saying goodbye to the Canadian penny, and Chris Hadfield was our Canadian in space. But more importantly, a complex world was generating ideas and controversies that would become fuel for your studies and serve as the basis for your research, for critical thinking, and for debate. And in support of your education, you were encouraged to voice your opinions and ideas, and to listen and respectfully consider the ideas and views of others. Well, as you depart from your Antigonish home, 2017 may seem even more complex than 2013. And just as you did at St. FX, you will carve out a path that interests and rewards you, and your confidence and willingness to participate, to be a serious part of the conversation, will be an important gift that you take with you today. You're ready for the recognition you're about to receive. This is your moment. So let us now proceed with the convocation ceremony.
Father Andrew Gillies, the University Chaplain, will offer the prayer of invocation.
Loving God, on this joy-filled day, we lift our hearts to you. Fill our St. Francis Xavier University graduates of 2017 with your blessing as they commence the rest of their lives. Fill them with confidence in how much they have grown over their time spent on our campus. Acknowledging the significance of this important milestone, we're here today and grateful for the constant support and love of our families, for the lifelong friendships we have formed and that have formed us, for the faculty, staff, administration, alumni, and friends who have challenged and inspired our graduates to learn, to love, and to serve. While we hear the name of each graduate read aloud and each of our exceptional Severians walks proudly across this stage, we ask you to guide their steps toward the destination you have planned for them, together with you forever and ever. Amen.
It is my pleasure to introduce some of our platform party, some of whom will not be introduced later in the program. Please hold your applause until all have been introduced. Warden Russell Boucher, Municipality of the County of Antigonish. Mayor Laurie Boucher, Town of Antigonish. Chief Paul Prosper, Buckincack First Nation. Mr. Andrew Beckett, Vice President, Finance and Administration. Mr. Murray Kite, Vice President, Advancement. Dr. June Weber, Director, Cody International Institute and Vice President, St. FX. Mr. Bob Hale, Head, Student Services. Dr. Karen Brebner, Dean of Arts. Dr. Timothy Hines, Dean, Schwartz School of Business. Sister Brenda Lee Boisvert, Congregational Leader, Sisters of St. Martha. The congregation received an honorary degree from St. FX on their 100th anniversary in 2000. Dr. Donna Trembinski, Chair, University Senate. Dr. Wojtek Tokarz, Chair, University Faculty. Dr. Matthias Nilges, Chair, Faculty of Arts. Dr. Laurie Wadsworth, Chair, Faculty of Science. And Dr. Leo McDonald, Chair, Faculty of Education. All faculty and staff play a significant role in the success of our graduates, which we celebrate today. St. FX offers 34 subjects and programs. The names of these, along with professors who chair or coordinate these areas, are listed at the back of the convocation booklet. We invite you to recognize these individuals along with all faculty and staff who are present here today. Faculty and staff, please stand. The President of the University, Dr. Kent MacDonald. May it please you, sir, to address convocation.
Morning. How was your evening? Good. It's a great morning. On behalf of the Board of Governors, let me extend a warm St. FX welcome to our visitors here today, family and friends, loved ones, returning alumni who have, because of weather, many of you have taken a long journey to get here, and we're thankful that you could join us. I also like to recognize the faculty of the university and the staff. I've made it quite clear in my time, of all the parents that I've met, I speak to a lot of them, and they talk about their sons or daughters, children here at St. FX, and in the hundreds and hundreds I've met, I've never once had any of them say, my son or daughter really, really liked the president. So I remember where my bread is buttered, and to our faculty and staff, thank you for your terrific year. There's normally another group I'd like to recognize. These are the unsung heroes that we sometimes don't pay tribute to enough in these moments. But for our graduating students, I can assure you that they have been your greatest cheerleaders, sometimes from the sidelines and sometimes more up close. So I'm going to ask if they can stand for all the grandparents here this morning. Can you stand to be recognized for your support? Thank you. And of course, the most important people here this morning, the graduating class of 2017. Congratulations. So as a Maritimer, someone who grew up in this area, we like to tell stories. And I'm going to tell you a story of an event that occurred to me just 2 days ago. I was, in fact, out of the country, playing very close to getting back myself on time, and I'm glad I did. And I was going to my last meeting. It was overseas. A couple things happened. I was paying for the taxi at the very time that a phone call came in from one of our alum in this country. I became distracted, and of all the things I could and should not have done was to leave my passport on the back seat of the taxi. And so here I was in downtown London watching this black cab drive into the distance with 5 hours to go before I was to catch my flight. And so I have a responsibility here. The gentleman, though, that I was with, another Maritimer, in fact, of Scottish heritage, reminded me in my moment of panic. He said, Kent, look, that a president at a university graduation is similar to a corpse at a Scottish funeral. You're both needed to have the party, but they're not really expecting you to say much. So I had to get my passport, and it's a very difficult thing to do. About 45 minutes later, after many phone calls, there was a knock at the door. He was Ian Howard, a graduate of the University of London, Bachelor of Arts in History, and he was my taxi driver. And he came back and he said to me, he knocked on the door, and what he said was remarkable to me. He said, in an apologetic tone, I'm very sorry it took me so long, because we had a great conversation on the way to this meeting. I told him where I was from and what I did in this great school. I was going home in a few hours. And he said to me, I apologize, I'm sorry it took so long. I knew you must have been really upset because I knew you had to get back to Canada. Imagine, I left my passport in his taxi, and he had to find his way back to where he let me off and deliver the passport. And so, why would I tell you a story like that that is some degree of embarrassment? It's this. And it inspired me when I got on the plane from London to Toronto to Halifax to get rid of what I was going to say today and write something completely different. And so for the next 5 hours on the plane, I gave some thought to Ian Howard. And Ian Howard reminded me that this group of graduates are going out into the world with wonderful, wonderful people. In fact, this is a beautiful time to be graduating from a university, and I would argue that there's never been a better time for you to be leaving St. FX and going into the world. And I know sometimes it's difficult for us to understand because of the things that we read and listen on the radio and the negativity. I've come up with a new term. I call it fake news. And we forget that the world is filled with Ian Howards. And we forget that the world at this time is changing and improving like it's never before. And Rutger Bregman, one of Europe's finest young thinkers, reminds us that for 99% of the history of the world, 99% of us lived in poverty, hunger, and sickness, and we were uneducated. And what seems like overnight, billions of us are now well-nourished, living in clean conditions, we're healthy, and we're being educated. The child mortality rate around the world when I was born in the early 60s was 20%. Today, it's less than 5%. And when I came to St. FX as a student in the mid-80s, nearly half of the world lived in extreme poverty. When you leave here today, that's less than 10%. And in fact, if the trend continues in our lifetime, we may eradicate extreme poverty completely. As you leave St. FX today, at the time that St. Francis Xavier walked the earth, he would describe the things that are occurring in our world today as miracles. That today we are having the ability to restore sight to the blind, return movement to limbs that perhaps once were paralyzed. Smallpox has been wiped out, polio virtually eliminated. We have faculty who work at this university who are doing groundbreaking research in things like trying to address global warming. In the last year alone, affordable vaccines have saved more people of measles, tetanus, whooping cough, diphtheria than would have been saved by world peace in the last 100 years. And speaking of 100 years, in their recent book, Scott and Grattan reminds us that your children are more likely to live past the age of 100 years old as they grow. And what about education? Well, the world is getting smarter. Millions more are being educated. Millions more are going to colleges and university. And what's the outcome of this? We are actually able to measure the IQ of the world is increasing as a result of our commitment to education and better nutrition. And speaking of better nutrition, there will be more people, ironically, die this year of obesity than hunger. At the beginning of the 20th century, only 10% of the countries were democracies, and today it's over 50%. The world that you enter is an exciting place. There are driverless cars on the road. There are flying taxis in the sky. Rocket ships are returning peacefully down to Earth, and books and groceries will soon be delivered to your home via Amazon by drones. And so what's the relevance of all that? Well, I am reminded of Oscar Wilde when he said that when you think that you've reached the shores of paradise, it's time to rehoist your sails and set your sights even further. And that's your quest as graduates of St. FX, to rehoist your sails and set the sights further, because even though the world is a much better place than it ever has before, we don't have to look far beyond the corridors of West Street or St. Ninian Street to realize there's more work to be done. And as graduates from a university dedicated to liberal education, I can tell you that this is exactly the right time that the world needs people like you. You did not come here to St. FX to be trained for your first job. It's not what we do here. You did come to St. FX to be educated for your third job and your fifth job and your 10th job, because our faculty have trained you and had you think critically, and you're now prepared to go out and solve some of those ugly, messy, naughty as in uncomfortable problems that exist in the world today. So here's my hope for you, graduates. I hope that you leave this beautiful hall here today being a little bit more like Ian. And that is, when you leave here, to be less impressed by money and power and titles, and be more impressed by kindness, humility, graciousness, and character. I hope that you embrace this gift that you now have called a St. FX education. We live in a great world, remember that, but there's more work to be done to try to address the imperfect and incomplete world of humanity. We are very proud of the class of 2017. We can't wait to see the journey in front of you. Please keep connected. Que cumque sunt vera, whatsoever things are true. Thank you.
The Academic Vice President and Provost of the University, Dr. Kevin Walmsley, will present to Convocation recipients of university medals for outstanding academic achievement.
Dr. MacDonald, I ask you to present university medals, symbolic of outstanding academic achievement, to these members of the graduating class. University Gold Medals. These medals are awarded to the student with the highest average in the final 3 years of an honors, advanced major, or major degree program. Bachelor of Science, Michael Peter Kanach, Delta, BC. Bachelor of Science in Nursing, Laura Lee Burns, Antigonish. Also, Bachelor of Science in Nursing, Hannah Kate Dunn Pollock, Kettle Point, Ontario. Bachelor of Science in Human Nutrition, Jane Elizabeth Stevenson, Lyons Brook. Bachelor of Arts, Science in Human Kinetics, Eileen Maria Story, Moncton, New Brunswick. Diploma in Engineering, Cecil Samuel Ash, Cranbrook, BC. Bachelor of Education, Ashley Nicole Marie McDonald, Sydney River. The Governor General Medal. The Governor General Graduate Medal for the highest overall average in a thesis-based graduate program to Almudena Garcia Garcia, Alhama de Murcia, Spain.
The Academic Vice President and Provost of the University, Dr. Kevin Walmsley, will present to Convocation Mr. Alan Syliboy, upon whom the degree Doctor of Laws honoris causa will be conferred.
Madam Chancellor, I have the pleasure to present to you and our convocation guests Alan Syliboy, a celebrated Mi'kmaq artist, filmmaker, author, musician, teacher, social justice activist, and one of the most important contemporary artists in Canada. Born in Truro, Alan Syliboy lives in Millbrook First Nations. He studied privately with celebrated artist and activist Shirley Bear before attending the Nova Scotia College of Art and Design. His vibrant multimedia works, inspired by the Indigenous petroglyphs of Nova Scotia and Mi'kmaq legends, enthrall and educate people here in Nova Scotia and around the world about the beauty and richness of Mi'kmaq culture. Mr. Syliboy is a valued and cherished friend of St. Francis Xavier University. He is a long-standing and generous supporter of the St. FX Art Gallery, and for some 10 years has donated and produced significant works of art for auction at the annual Art Gallery fundraiser. This past year, St. FX was honored to have him serve as Coady Chair in Social Justice. Honoring the spirit of Moses Coady and the leaders of the Antigonish movement, he offered an important mechanism to deepen the university's and students' commitments to service and social justice, and to support the Coady International Institute as a center for global citizen leadership and social justice at St. FX. During his tenure, Mr. Syliboy's insights, wisdom, and artistic work reached students, faculty, and staff across the university. Alan brought the university to life with his interactive talks, his painting, and drum-making workshops that inspired and informed the university and wider Antigonish communities. Mr. Syliboy contributed to high-level discussions on reconciliation that included joining Senator Murray Sinclair in engagements aimed at guiding St. FX in its reconciliation efforts. He designed and led the President's Colloquium on Social Justice for Reconciliation, Indigenous Perspectives. Notwithstanding these many fine contributions, Mr. Syliboy's most inspiring involvement was with Indigenous students, with whom he created rich environments for dialogue and engagement. Through his mentorship and support, students explored their personal and academic realities in conjunction with the tremendous potential of Indigenous traditions to guide them on their journeys. Madam Chancellor, for his prodigious and varied artistic work, spiritual leadership, and his contributions to the community, reflecting ideals central to the St. FX tradition of moral and just action, I present to you Alan Syliboy for the degree Doctor of Laws, honoris causa.
Convocation will be addressed by Dr. Syliboy.
I brought some video, so I think we can start rolling that and start things off. I'd just like to say that I think I'm an example of not where you start, but where you finish, because my early education was a complete disaster, and I spent a lot of years trying to stay out of the way in school, and it just didn't work out for me. However, I started my art career as a student in sort of an underground way, because we didn't have art classes, so I sort of had my own art classes with materials I should have been reading and had to pay the price every now and then. However, it's worth it. But my fellow students were my first public. They encouraged me, and it really felt good to be admired for something that you did well, and because my experience, that was not the case. So life went on, and I had a good, solid family. My mother was she worked, and she was very solid person that was reasonable. That you could talk to and reason with, because I was lucky. And she was also a person that protected me from a residential school and said that my brother and I would not go there under any circumstances, which I'm internally grateful for. However, my father was not as fortunate. He did spend 8 years at residential school and paid a heavy price. So we're all affected by it, not directly, but indirectly, and we're still healing from that. I feel that as time goes on and that we are discussing this and it gets out in the open, and I think that's the healing process has started very well. I had a good 2 days with Murray Sinclair, and he explained to me very many things. And I appreciated that. And also the Coady Institute for inviting me to be chair of social justice was really one of my highlights in my career, because I felt that I could convey a message, I can tell a story, and this story, you know, it had an effect, I hope, and this institution and everyone in it. And I know for myself personally that I felt fortunate, and I felt really happy about being here and being able to meet so many people and talk to so many people. But I also feel a goal in my life is to sort of open doors. And so I've done a lot of things that I was the very first Indigenous person to be in, many boards and so on. But I think for me as an elder, I feel that the important thing is that maybe I get through it, but I'm more concerned about the next one behind me that gets through that same door. And that's how all these stories about us and who we are get told, and that just makes understanding a bit more understanding, and helps everyone. It brings everyone up. So I'd like to thank my aunts and my uncle and my my children for coming, and everyone else. And I feel all the support, and I had so many helpers. The list is way, way too long to name everyone. But I'm very fortunate to be associated with some great people that helped me along the way. And I look forward to the future. And I'd like to congratulate all the students that have graduated. Thank you very much.
Dr. James Cormier, Chair, Department of Chemistry, will present to convocation Dr. Truus Smith Palmer, Department of Chemistry, recipient of the Outstanding Teaching Award.
Madam Chancellor, President MacDonald, Dr. Syliboy, Vicar of the Founder, members of administration, faculty, and staff, distinguished guests, parents, families, and especially you, the graduates, it's my great pleasure to present Truus Smith Palmer of the Department of Chemistry, the recipient of the Outstanding Teaching Award for 2017. Dr. Smith Palmer is a professor of chemistry. She's an example of how faculty should embrace the Xaverian spirit. Her enthusiasm for chemistry is contagious. For over 25 years, a fair amount over 25 years, Dr. Smith Palmer, known simply as Truus or TSP by her students, has been known for going above and beyond to ensure her students have all the necessary tools to succeed. She'll come in during a snowstorm if a student needs help in a lab. She comes in early or late to give advice on assignments and write-ups and research and everything else. All she asks in return is that her students be just as dedicated. Although her courses are known to be some of the most challenging in the Department of Chemistry, they're well received by the students who appreciate her open-door policy, her desire to ensure their success, and fairly often her baking skills. Many have mentioned the sense of pride and reward they feel on completing a TSP course. She encourages critical thinking in her students as a means of solving challenging and relevant analytical questions. She's also built a successful research program and has advised many undergraduate, graduate, and postdoctoral students. She's been a driving force in many internal and external research collaborations, notably the Center as an active researcher in the Center for Biofouling Research. And she's been active in the community for over 20 years, promoting science education to the younger generation as Director of XChem Outreach, with a focus on local First Nations, African Nova Scotians, and rural communities all over northeastern Nova Scotia and Cape Breton. Her service to St. FX, where she's been on many, many committees, has been exemplary. And her commitment to her students and her unwavering support of young faculty don't go unnoticed or unappreciated. And in the words of one of her students, she's a wonderful woman, a wonderful professor, and a wonderful role model, and is more than deserving of this honor. Dr. Smith Palmer will be accepting this award in absentia because she's presently on sabbatical doing research in Australia. Madam Chancellor, I present to you into convocation Professor Truus Smith Palmer, Outstanding Teaching Award 2017.
All candidates listed in the program are receiving those degrees or diplomas ascribed to them. Some, however, cannot be present for this convocation. They will receive their degrees in absentia. The audience is asked to refrain from applause until after each group of candidates is presented. On behalf of the Committee on Graduate Studies, Dr. Richard Eisner will present to the Chancellor candidates for graduate degrees.
Madam Chancellor, for the degree of Studies, I present to you Ingrid Mara Robinson, Antigonish. Madam Chancellor, for the degree of Master of Science, I present to you Emmeline Elizabeth Atherton, Lindsay, Ontario. Francisco Jose Cuesta Valero, Agaramon, Spain. Almendina Garcia Garcia. Warren Daniel Leibold, Dartmouth. Caitlin Elizabeth McKay, Antigonish. Michael Gregory Reed, Oxford, winner of the Outstanding Graduate Student Award. Madam Chancellor, for the degree of Master of Education, I present to you Nadia Maria Bernadelli, Sudbury, Ontario. Sandra Lee Boomer, Hammonds Plains. Christopher John Bigelow, Kentville. Stephanie Rachel Burke, Lower Sackville. Deborah Lynn Burris, Brookfield. Sophie Chantal Call, Yellowknife, Northwest Territories. Trina Lynn Campbell, Bedford. Mary Patrine Churchill, Yarmouth. Donald Nathaniel Cormier, Antigonish. Melanie Elizabeth Daw, Wabush, Newfoundland and Labrador. Elizabeth Marie Farrell, Antigonish. Laura Maria Gillen, Antigonish. Joyce Kathleen Grandy, Etobicoke, Ontario. Donna Susan Gunn, Halifax. Joanne Elizabeth Hughes, Mahone Bay. Catherine Michelle Huntington, Sydney. Cara Lee Jameson, Halifax. Karen Lynn Marie Kenny, Antigonish. Darcy Marie Kimmett, Antigonish. Marianne Henrietta Langille, Melrose, Ontario. Derek Michael Noel Lachuk, Fort St. John's, British Columbia. Melissa Reen Leder, Spruce Grove, Alberta. Mark Weaver McPhee, Halifax. Joyce Wambui Mugumba, Nairobi, Kenya. Matthew Mintrit No, Halifax. Shelley Marie Orr, Berwick. Wendy Maria Panagopoulos, Guysborough. Elsa Pinkos, Antigonish. Trevor Alexander Reddick, Antigonish. Marcia Anne-Marie Sabatis, Sydney. Jason Arthur Teal, Brandon, Manitoba. And Hugh Francis Wood, Fatima, Quebec. Madam Chancellor, for the degree of Master of Adult Education, I present to you Jennifer Ellen May Cliff Marks, Castlegar, British Columbia. Brian Joseph Dewey, Falls River. Michelle Andrea Flanagan, Middle Sackville. Jenna Lynn Goddard, Kamloops, British Columbia, winner of the Audrey Fenwick Memorial Award for Studies in Adult Education. Helen Victoria Gray, Croesus Settlement, winner of the Outstanding Graduate Student Research Award. Laird Herbert, Pelly Crossing, Yukon Territory. Janet Elizabeth Ann Norman, Mount Pearl, Newfoundland and Labrador. Darren Nedachima Okafo, Antigonish.
Dr. Jeff Orr, Dean of Education, will present to the Chancellor candidates for the degree Bachelor of Education.
Madam Chancellor, for the degree Bachelor of Education, I present to you the following candidates. Megan Danielle Elaine, New Glasgow. Tara Raylene Anderson, Halifax. Amber Nicole Arbique, Halifax. Justin John Baird, New Glasgow. Jessica Marion Barkhouse, New Ross. Kaylee Alyssa Bent, Chester. Haley Marie Bernard, Pictou Landing First Nation. Keenan Noel Sosep Bernard, Eskasoni First Nation. Chantel Alvina Berthier, Arishat. Bryden Lee Boudreau, Antigonish. Lindsay Joanne Bowie, Monastery. Laura Elizabeth Breen, Stellarton. Bridget Marie Brennan, Beechwood, New Brunswick. Thomas Edward Brown, Antigonish. Lori Elizabeth Burns, Hammonds Plains. Lauren Ashley Butler, Timberley. Chelsea Elizabeth Cameron, Port Hawkesbury. Zachary Neil Cameron, Thorburn. Brian Joseph Casey, Grand Falls, Newfoundland and Labrador. Andrew Timothy Patrick Cavan, Metcalfe, Ontario. Matthew Paul Christian, Halifax. Rebecca Mary Catherine Clancy, Hammonds Plains. Taylor Jordan Clark, Hilden. Logan Charles Clark Kenny, Halifax. Laura Michelle Corbett, Antigonish. Cassandra Jacqueline Corleone, Metcalfe, Ontario. Wayne William Colin Crossman, Edmonton. Sarah Marie Doody, Corner Brook, Newfoundland, Labrador. Jeremy Keith Dunn, Wolfville. Jennifer Marie Eisner, Conqueror Mills. Kelly Nicole Ettinger, North Knoll Road. Stephanie Marie Pauline Foley, Miramichi. Evan Alexander Ford, Milton, Ontario. Shanna Lee Francis, Eskasoni First Nation. Kyle Samuel Fraser, New Glasgow. Caitlin Marie Gates, Antigonish. Joel Jeffrey Goswell, Truro. Whitney Ann Gould, Waigoma First Nation. Kathleen Katie Mary Teresa Grzicki, Guelph. Kaylin Faye Hakeem, Melton. Brandon Alexander Hamilton, Upper Kennetcook. Sasha Ari Hayward Isaac, Sydney. Lacey Amanda Henniger Lemon Fredericton. Mackenzie Kristen Hepburn Truro. Sean Patrick Hickey, Cornwall, Ontario. Wesley John William Jordan, Florenceville, Bristol, New Brunswick. Taylor George Kavanagh, Calgary. Stéphane Leblanc, Blanc-Sablon, Quebec. Travis Thomas Losey, Cornwall. Ashley Nicole Marie McDonald, Sydney River. Kelly Ann McDonald, Brook Village. Kyla Margaret McDonald, St. Andrews West, Ontario. Matthew Kent McDonald, Stittsville, Ontario. Tiffany Noel McDonald, Truro Heights. Kelsey Bernadette Magnan, Sydney Mines. Samantha Tambry Mary Mason, Hancock, Maine. Stephanie Elizabeth McCarville, Charlottetown. Derek James Robert McGee, Southampton. Skylar Kelsey McLean, New Glasgow. Samantha Pearl McNamara, St. Peter's. Kathleen K.T. Heather Melanson, Indian Island, New Brunswick. Graham James Christopher Notter McLean, Waterloo. Cara Jean Power, New Glasgow. Cora Chantal Pye, Trenton. Christian Donald Ridley, Dubai. Stephanie Lynn Roy, Moncton. Catherine Ann Ryan, Inverness. Samantha Bernadette Sampson, Antigonish. Chad Alexander Sampson, Truro. Laura Elizabeth Sandre, Greeley, Ontario. Travis John Sidoroff, Truro. Alicia Nicole Siliker, Kensington, PEI. Nicola Morgan Sperry, Amherst. Giselle Lynn Ann Stevens, Eskasoni First Nation. Mary Catherine Thompson, Oshawa. Randy Timmons, Shetticamp. Nao Janelle Upshaw, Antigonish. Caitlin Marie Van Steeg, Rothsay, New Brunswick. Lindsay Margaret Van Vonderen, Antigonish. Brandon Stephen Joseph Verge, Hubbards. Brianna Marie Waterman, Antigonish. Lindsay Rebecca Williams, New Glasgow. Robin Michelle Wilson, Sky Glen. And Sarah Marie Quinn Young, Lance.
Dr. Petra Hoff, Dean of Science, will present to the Chancellor candidates for undergraduate degrees in the Faculty of Science, Bachelor of Arts in Human Kinetics, and Diploma in Engineering.
Madam Chancellor, for the degree Bachelor of Science with Major, I present to you Logan Patrick Allen, St. Albert, Alberta. Alec William Benson, Antigonish. Shai Christina Danielle Bond, Truro. Miranda Paige Bouchard, Tragedy. Kristen Selina Boudreau, Louisdale. Darcy Vance Dixon Campbell, New Glasgow. Jen Jen, China. Yiyong Jen, China. Christine Cronin Jinner, Halifax. Catherine Delaney Chisholm, Antigonish. Jamie Caitlin Conway, Ottawa. Blake James Warren Cormier, Hopeville. Sean Alexander Costello, Fredericton, New Brunswick. Emma Catherine Devine, Yarmouth. Kelsey Elizabeth Doucette, Mahone Bay. Brad John Ferrari, Wasaga Beach, Ontario, also receiving a diploma in engineering. Cullen Alexander Fitzgerald, United States. Bailey Roberta Flynn, Cross Creek, New Brunswick. Isabel Grace Foster, England. Drew Anthony Fougere, Calgary. Alicia Arlene Galloway, Albert Bridge, Nova Scotia. Megan Allen Gurney, Cape Breton. Cody John Hennessy, Rockwood, Ontario. Jacob Von Johnson, Grand Lake, Nova Scotia. Michaela Elaine Little, Stratford, Prince Edward Island. Sierra Jody Lovell, Corner Brook. Jean Catherine McEachern, Antigonish. Lauren Eileen Augusta McIntyre, Sydney. Alison Marie McIver, Port Hawkesbury. Melanie Claire McKay, United States. Emilia Frances McKenzie, Antigonish. Kimpra Ann McLean, Antigonish. Megan Marie Martel, St. Peter's. Marie Nicole McCarran, Antigonish. Ellen Claire Pretty, River John. Mason Bruce Raswell, Calgary. Juliana Claire Rideau, Grand Falls, New Brunswick. Zachary Thomas Sherker, United States. Christopher John Stevenson, Moncton. Jillian Lynn Stymust, Kingston, Nova Scotia. Kimberly Ann Taylor, Toronto. Haley Elizabeth Wilson, Sky Glen, Nova Scotia. Yiyon, China. Zaijiang, Antigonish. Tinzhujiang, China. For the degree Bachelor of Science with major with distinction, I present to you Jane Colin Macaulay Waikakama. Bria Teresa McKinnon, Coxheath, Nova Scotia. Isla Marie Matisek, West Vancouver, British Columbia. Jordan Scott McInnes, Surrey, Prince Edward Island. Ariana Jane Orasanin, Ancaster, Ontario. Evgenia Diamantis Pateras, Kanata, Ontario. Micheline Josie Savory, Petit de Gras. Theoba Boylan Semadeni, Victoria, British Columbia. Madeleine Valerie Smith, Chocolate Cove, New Brunswick. Jordan Thomas Fussman, St. Andrews. For the degree Bachelor of Science with Advanced Major, I present to you Emma Lee Bastarach, Truro. Shelby Marie Brown, Calgary. Ellen B. Burnett, Charlottetown. Riley Gray Erickson, Victoria, British Columbia. Jane Madeleine Fletcher, Calgary. Michaela Doreen Forturon, Miragat, Nova Scotia. Colby Ryan Fraser, New Glasgow. Samantha Taylor Gray, Kingston, Ontario. Yi Gu, China. Gabrielle Marie McLaughlin, Dartmouth. Luke Patrick Momboquet, Whitecourt, Alberta. James Arthur Nelson, Fredericton. Scott McLean Sampson, Halifax. Treenan and Shay Tignish, Prince Edward Island. Caitlin Irene Avery Walsh, Stellarton. For the degree Bachelor of Science with Advanced Major with Distinction, I present to you Erin Elizabeth O'Coin, Orleans, Ontario, who is also receiving a diploma in engineering. Kristen Ashley Boomer, Robertville, New Brunswick. Madison Lee DiRubio, United States. Amanda Lane McAvoy, Falmouth, Nova Scotia. Victoria Maria Zandre, Greeley, Ontario. Catherine Ann Simon, St. John, New Brunswick. Cassia Lee Robertson Tremblay, Calgary. Winner of Dr. Lee Chisholm Award, Dr. Deanne Murphy Prize, and Service Learning Prize for Excellence as a Community Engaged Scholar. Katharina Ann Zumwalt, Calgary. For the degree Bachelor of Science with Joint Advanced Major, I present to you Adriana Rebecca MacDonald Antigonish. For the degree Bachelor of Science with Joint Advanced Major with Distinction, I present to you Jose Barbara Carr, Fredericton, Hannah Pearson Rochen, Ottawa. For the degree Bachelor of Science with Honors, I present to you Yuyan Fu, China. Taylor O'Shaughnessy Hope, Belleville, Ontario. Chantal Elizabeth Hauser, Moncton. Brianna Maureen O'Hanley, Guysborough. Nisha Serene Wright, Whitehorse. Chelsea Dawn Yeo, Bedford. Zhang Tianzhu, China. For the degree Bachelor of Science with First Class Honors, I present to you Anthony James Aquino Antigonish. Seamus T.O. Biristo, Whitehorse. Carly N. Keating-Beckers, Halifax, winner of the Chemistry Industry Merit Award. Nukulu Aidan Callahan Patricia Antigonish, winner of the Wallbank Weingartshofer Prize for Experimental Physics. Ellen Marine Duhan, Charlottetown. Matthew Nicholas Elliott, Kingston, Ontario. Brian Alexander Olson, Deeper, New Brunswick. Thomas Charles Fowler, St. John's, winner of the Yogi Yoshi Prize for Excellence in Physics. Meng Jinji, China. Ciora Taylor Holden, Antigonish. Xiao Jing, Antigonish. Emil Howard Jorger, Antigonish. Michael Peter Kinner, Delta, British Columbia, winner of the M.S. Gordon Memorial Prize for Physics. Tomislav Lechpammer, Halifax. Madison Jane Melissa Lewis, Charlottetown, winner of the Dr. A.A. MacDonald Prize for Mathematics. Christina Rachel Minions, Calgary. Rowan Elizabeth Murphy, Halifax. Lana Lauren Femister, Toronto. Noah Alexander Ritzy, Grafton, New Brunswick, winner of the Dr. H. Stanley and Doreen Ellie Heaps Prize for Computing Science. Lindsay Ann Spafford, Athabasca, Alberta, winner of the Angus L. MacDonald Memorial Scholarship for Celtic Studies. For the degree Bachelor of Science with Joint Honors, I present to you Claude Michel J. Vivetti, Halifax. Hugh Peter Warren Ferguson, Ottawa. For the degree Bachelor of Science with Joint First Class Honors, I present to you Aaron James Massicott, Coldbrook, Nova Scotia. Madam Chancellor, for the degree Bachelor of Science in Nursing, I present to you Jasmine Janelle Allen, Malagash, Nova Scotia. Teresa May Arantes, Longueuil, Quebec. Charlene Erica Arsenault, Bathurst, New Brunswick. Danielle Monique Bender, Toronto. Rachel Ann Berry, Spring Hill, Nova Scotia. Leslie Ann Borelli, Windsor, Ontario. Edith Faye Suzanne Brunel, Toronto. Haley Danielle Budden, Glace Bay, Nova Scotia. Lacey Jan Callahan, St. Louis, Prince Edward Island. Ashley Dawn Chase, Fredericton. Kennedy Marie Clark, Somerset, Prince Edward Island. Lauren Holly Clark, Bayside, Nova Scotia. Lauren Ashleah Graft, Lunenburg. Ruby Ann Curwin, Dartmouth. Simone Danielle Dorsey, Dartmouth. Mackenzie Lee Dawson, Ottawa. Victoria Page DeCoste, Porters Lake, Nova Scotia. Alexa Marie Dill, Surrey, Prince Edward Island. Patricia Mildred Margaret Douglas, Mount Stewart, Prince Edward Island. Erica Marie Downey, Dartmouth. Cassandra May Dawn Fahy, Kennetcook, Nova Scotia. Julia Matthews Flynn, Porters Lake, Nova Scotia. Kenzie Christina Gillis, Antigonish. Shannon Elaine Gugu Paul, Vegoma. Lily Gwendolyn Summers Gordon, West Dublin, Nova Scotia. Alyssa Elizabeth Goff-Fancy, Blockhouse, Nova Scotia. Alex Christina Grant, Fall River. Laura Suzanne Gray, Bedford, Nova Scotia. Michelle Lean Gray, Lower Sackville, Nova Scotia. Tanya Elizabeth Harrison, Sharon, Ontario. Jillian Margaret Hines, Fall River, Nova Scotia. Adriana Suzanne Hull, Antigonish. Catherine Laura Hum, Halifax. Allison Sarah Hunter Dawson, Yukon Territory. Christine Elizabeth Johnson, Calgary. Marley Victoria Johnston, Pictou. Sudari Kanasankwa, Newmarket, Ontario. Megan Michaela Kaiserlink, Ottawa. Rachel Ann Gluska, Canning, Nova Scotia. Dana Ray LeBlanc, Sarnia, Ontario. Lisa Rita May Levin, Gatineau, Quebec. Brittany Shirley McDonald, Charlottetown. Hannah Nicole McDonald, Glace Bay, Nova Scotia. Abby Christina McDougall, Antigonish. Melissa Alice McLee, Halifax. Caitlin Ann McLean, Mabou, Nova Scotia, winner of the Academic Vice President and Provost Award for Student Nurse Leadership. Jamie Ann McLean, Somerset, Prince Edward Island. Jenna Lynn McLellan, Upper Tantalon, Nova Scotia. Melissa Grace Rita Mayer, Middle Sackville, Nova Scotia. Courtney Lee Marcotte, Trenton, Nova Scotia. Shannon L. Marsh, Waverly, Nova Scotia. Laura Beverly Madison, Herring Cove, Nova Scotia. Angela Nicole Messerol, Deep, New Brunswick. Valerie Heather McWilpum, Woodland, Ontario. Megan Marjorie Miller, St. Albert, Alberta. Jillian Hannah Murphy, Port Williams, Nova Scotia. Jamie Mary Myers, Tignish, Prince Edward Island. Brianna Deanne Organ, Bridgewater, Nova Scotia. Bailey Nicole Poirier, New Waterford, Nova Scotia. Molly Ann Ranking, Mabou, Nova Scotia. Take your time. Julie Dorothy Redden, Lake Echo, Nova Scotia. Christian Sean Roche, Halifax. Austin Taylor Donald Rose, Bridgewater, Nova Scotia. Murphy Marie Savory, Halifax. Caitlin Marie Schofield, Canning, Nova Scotia. Mandy Denise Shea, Tignish, Prince Edward Island. Nicole Robinson Sibley, Valley, Nova Scotia. Renee Myrtle Sims, Antigonish. Maggie Catherine Smith, Antigonish. Colette Marie Squire, LaSalle, Ontario. Emma Louise Taylor, Bridgetown, Nova Scotia. Danielle Grace Thompson, Dartmouth. Marie Catherine Thompson, Antigonish. Gonna wait a second. Can we give a round of applause? I need a break. Yes, I need a break. We are just waiting for our next candidate, Teresa Marie Touré, who gave birth to a little boy on Wednesday. And she's coming with a baby on stage. Christina Louise Vicentin, Kentville. Veronica Catherine Whiteman, Cow Bay, Nova Scotia. For the degree Bachelor of Science in Nursing with distinction, I present to you Elizabeth Ann Auger, St. Lazare, Quebec. Ronnie Alien Beaton, Inverness, Nova Scotia. Tanya Ellen Bell, Brampton, Ontario. Lisa Ann Bliss Donnelly, Burlington, Ontario. Tess Keo Briere, Ottawa. Paul Michael Privet, Pasadena, Newfoundland, Labrador. Kathleen Mary Carroll, Truro. Shamina Marguerite Teresa Chiffon, Montreal. Christina Elizabeth Clark, Thorburn, Nova Scotia. Laura Melissa Crockett, Stellarton. Audrey Margaret Deagle, Antigonish. Sandra Charlene DeWolf Knight, New Glasgow. Kyla Ashley DeYoung, Antigonish. Alison Elizabeth Jonna Downing, Carp, Ontario. Diana Allison Douglas King, Verdun, Quebec. Brianna Nicole Eisen, Waverly, Nova Scotia. Sabina Finney, Asselton, Quebec. Kayla Marie Fraser, Hardwood Ridge, New Brunswick. Akua Namakiko Frimpong, Laval, Quebec. Erin Nicole Gillis, New Glasgow. Heather Louise Gillis, Antigonish. Tanner Justin Ewers, Stellarton. Sherry Darlene Johnson, Prospero, Nova Scotia. Andrea Josephine Keller Robinson, Ottawa. Jamie Lee Kiskila, Thunder Bay, Ontario. Taylor Victoria LaRue, Fall River. Annie Livingston, Thunder Bay, Ontario. Elisa Dawn McCauley, Enfield. Lisa Blair McDonald, Ramia, Newfoundland, Labrador. Marie Catherine McDonald, Kingston, Ontario, winner of the Dean of Science Senior Award for Excellence in Nursing Practice. Haley Heather McEachern, Truro. Michelle Marie McIsaac, Sydney. Jillian Sarah Joy McKinnon, Dundas, Ontario. Amy Jewel Mangone, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Stephanie Anastasia Marie Markotic, Waterdown, Ontario. Danielle Yvonne McCollum, Truro. Donna Jillian McGrath, Scottsboro, Nova Scotia. Jennifer Elizabeth Margaret McLaren, Cambridge, Ontario. Bailey Ray McLellan, Okotoks, Alberta. Michaela Jean Lynn Miller, Northwest Cove, Nova Scotia. Haney Sat Mossad, Montreal, Quebec. Michaela Mariana Montan, Laval, Quebec. Buki Torgers Oidele, Whitby, Ontario. Angela Ann Pichet, Bridgetown, Nova Scotia. Tammy Ann Pollard, Barrie, Ontario. Carolyn Diane Rose, Surrey, Prince Edward Island. Jillian Nicole Scott, Antigonish. Margaret Ann Scott, Port Hope, Ontario. Kennedy Jane Service, Indian Harbor, Nova Scotia. Shanna Lee Lynn Smith, Oxford, Nova Scotia. Catherine Libby Sullivan, United States. Karen Ann Sutherland, North Bay, Ontario. Carol Patricia Assumption Vigas, Pierrefonds, Quebec. Kelsey Lynn Vick, Lance, Nova Scotia. Carmen Wu, Laval, Quebec. Michelle Yan, Ottawa, Ontario. For the degree, Bachelor of Science in Nursing with Advanced Major, I present to you Jennifer Allen Smith, Halifax. For the degree, Bachelor of Science in Nursing with Advanced Major with Distinction, I present to you Mallory Margaret Evise Dalrymple, Moncton. Julia Sarah Ann Lawrence, Halifax. Emily Mary Milestone, Upper Tantalon, Nova Scotia. Marie Linney Mullerar, Antigonish. Hannah Kate Dunn Pollock, Kettle Point, Ontario. Naomi Ann Rutledge, Scottsboro, Nova Scotia. Jasmine Gabriel Smith, Woodstock, Ontario. For the degree Bachelor of Science in Nursing with First Class Honors, I present to you Laura Lee Burns, Antigonish, winner of the Dr. Winston Jackson Honors Research Award. Antonia Maria Di Castri, St. Albert, Alberta. For the degree Bachelor of Science in Human Nutrition, I present to you Margaret Joyce Marie Barkhouse, Dartmouth. Alexia Leah Beaulieu, Barrie, Ontario. Maura Catherine Brennan, St. John's, Newfoundland, Labrador. Sydney Madison Bullen, De Winton, Alberta. Michaela Barbara Mary Burns, Carlton Place, Ontario. Roberta Kathleen Carson, Wolfville. Melissa Lee Chisholm, Antigonish. Cassandra Jean Lorraine Grau, Southampton, Nova Scotia. Haley Alexandra Ivy, Millville, Nova Scotia. Kyle Williams Chisholm, Millville, Nova Scotia. Lindsay Marie Knapp, Port Williams, Nova Scotia. Corey Evelyn Lightfoot, Wolfville. Elizabeth McDonald, Bedford. Liam Andrew McDonald, Inverness, Nova Scotia. Angela Marie McGillivray, Antigonish. Brittany Colleen McIsaac, Sydney. Megan Christine McLeod, Clays Bay, Nova Scotia. Mackenzie Aaron McPhee, Rothsay, New Brunswick. Jonathan Jerome Millett, Sydney. Shelby Taylor Pike, Sydney Mines. Matthew Allen Smith, Halifax, also receiving a Bachelor of Science in Human Kinetics. Isla Marie Timmons, Clays Bay. Avery Terrence Tramplet, North Shore, Nova Scotia. For the degree Bachelor of Science in Human Nutrition with Distinction, I present to you Kazit Christina Garnier, Barrie, Ontario. Tienne LaShawn Lewis, Ajax, Ontario. Lindsay Marie McCharles, Winnipeg. Jamie Elizabeth Millis, Calgary. For the degree Bachelor of Science in Human Nutrition with Advanced Nature, I present to you Jacqueline Michelle Coty, Wellington, Nova Scotia. Alexis Kelsey Nelgrano, Kenora, Ontario. For the degree Bachelor of Science in Human Nutrition with Advanced Nature with Distinction, I present to you Jane Elizabeth Stevenson, Lions Brook, Nova Scotia, winner of the Sir James Dunn Foundation IDI Scholarship. For the degree Bachelor of Science in Human Nutrition with First Class Honors, I present to you Lauren Jessica Viana, London, Ontario. For the degree Bachelor of Science in Human Nutrition with Honors with Integrated Dietetic Internship, I present to you Ella Jacqueline Besserer, Oxford Mills, Ontario. Ashley Elizabeth Brooker, Wolfville, Nova Scotia. Haley Margaret Dormer, Barrie, Ontario. Chelsea Ann Fraser, New Glasgow. Anyone here? Jessica Ann McLean, Sydney. Sarah Janice Nunangwa, Kincardine, Ontario. Anjana Ravindran, Toronto. Morgan Elisha Riley, Windsor. Dean Joseph Simon, Flat Bay. Sarah Danielle Waters, Westville. Laura Christine Woodworth, Fall River. For the degree Bachelor of Science in Human Kinetics, I present to you Danielle Marie Henderson Ballant Stellarton, Sarah Kathleen Berry Moncton, Christiana Rosemary Buchanan Pictou, Max Brandon Bullock Dartmouth, Matthew Michael Burns, Ottawa, Holly Marion Jean Jubek, Curtis, Ontario, Justin Colin Churchill, Lake Echo, Nova Scotia, Michelle Dawn Courtney, Annapolis Royal, Nova Scotia, Carly Lauren Zimbaluk, Oromocto, New Brunswick, Veronica Suzanne Dino, Westville, Nova Scotia, Sheila Abigail Finnan, Kingston, Ontario, Sarah Rebecca Gandy, Valley, Nova Scotia, Connor Olivia Garrigan, Fredericton, Michael Tyler Gillis, North Sydney, Fabrice Joes Cousins, Antigonish, Jillian Elizabeth Jordan, Oxford, Michaela Hope Henderson, Kingston, Haley Grace Howell, Brooklyn, Ontario, Zachary Thomas Hines, Conception Bay South, Newfoundland, Labrador, Bharat Kant, St. John, New Brunswick, Ryan Glenn Douglas Knechtel, Beachburg, Ontario, Kyla Sabrina Ashley Lang, Lower Sackville, Nova Scotia, Dominic Lauren Lalande, Halifax, Ryan Michael Laurendeau, Sydney, Lauren Margaret Macaulay, Ottawa, April Jean McKay, Truro, Megan Stephanie McKenzie, Antigonish, Nicholas Alden McKenzie, Kenso, Marshall John McNeil, Westville, John Stephen McQuarrie, Antigonish, Ethan James McDonald, Ottawa, Alexander John Murphy, Margaree Valley, Nova Scotia, Brooke Alexandra Newsom, Brantford, Daly Ann Audie, Cranbrook, British Columbia, Heather Kirsten O'Grady, Burlington, Ontario, Brittany Ann Parks, Gore, Nova Scotia, Adam Henrik Paulus, Dartmouth, Lauren Ashley Peters, Bridgewater, Nova Scotia, Heidi Nicole Reeves, Liscombe, Nova Scotia, Garrett Murphy Rivers, Abercrombie, Nova Scotia, Katerina Ann Rodriguez, Burlington, Ontario, Margaret Catherine Ronalds, Toronto, Courtney Lean Scott, Antigonish, Allison Page Smith, Salt Springs, Matthew Allen Smith, Halifax, Susan Joan Stairs, Ship Harbor, Nova Scotia, Joshua David Thompson, Calgary. Brianne Michelle van der Linden, Calgary. Tiara Alessandra Veal Janzolen, Fort McMurray. Monica Pauline Wallace, Moncton. Brett Austin Young, Uxbridge, Ontario. For the degree Bachelor of Science in Human Kinetics with distinction, I present to you Scott David Arlich, Huntsville, Ontario. Rachel Louise Danielle Burgess, Ardoris, Nova Scotia. Pascal Daigle, Irishtown, New Brunswick. Christy Cecilia Hannah Kordick Strickler, Ottawa. Alison Marie McDonald, Bedford, Nova Scotia. Did you fall asleep? Yeah. Shannon? Shannon Kathleen McDonald, North Sydney, Nova Scotia. Brittany Nicole Evelyn McKay, Truro. Regan Ann McHugh, North Sydney. Selena Paulini, De Winton, Alberta. Emily Jane Perry, Barrington, Nova Scotia. Bethany Kate Rampton, Anprior, Ontario. Liam Elliott Rowe, Almond, Ontario. Colin Gray Stephen, Ancaster, Ontario. Melanie Lauren Stewart, Antigonish. Sophie Ruse Cower Tonette, Sydney, Nova Scotia. Adrienne Claire Weaver, Wimmis, Nova Scotia. For the degree Bachelor of Science in Human Kinetics with advanced major with distinction, I present to you Devin Paul Manning, St. John, New Brunswick. For the degree Bachelor of Science in Human Kinetics with honors, I present to you Scott William Donald, Ottawa. Nathan James Anthony Jeffs, or Medonte, Ontario. For the degree Bachelor of Science in Human Kinetics with first class honors, I present to you Garrett Alexander Pramal, Vancouver. Erin Victoria Procklehurst, Truro. Brianna Allison Campbell, Ingersoll, Ontario. Selena Evans, White Rock, British Columbia. Dare Wesley Douglas Fitzpatrick, Peterborough, Ontario. Troy William Ray Hillier, Port Hawkesbury. Megan Margaret Levillin, Cornwall, Prince Edward Island. Eric Michael Locke, Toronto. Heidi Lynette McDonald, Adnes, Nova Scotia. Kelsey Marie Match, Ottawa. Cassandra Joanne Marie Parker, Pembroke, Ontario. Jessica Marie Sampson, Petit de Gras, Nova Scotia. Eileen Maria Story, Moncton. Ryan Michael Washburn, New Glasgow. For the degree Bachelor of Arts in Human Kinetics, I present to you Liam Joshua Anderson, Richmond, British Columbia. Paige Lisette Ashley Armstrong, St. Albert, Alberta. Courtney Ann Auer Witherill, Ottawa. Julia Fahy Beals, Ottawa. Marissa Lauren Jean Blackwire, Summerside, Prince Edward Island. Haley Catherine Susan Cable, Toronto. Abby Elizabeth Cameron, Oakville, Ontario. Nicole Evelyn Corcoran, Bloomfield, Prince Edward Island. Candace Ann Cushank, Dartmouth. Maria Nicole Eagles, Westville. Shannon Page Hatfield, Woods Harbor, Nova Scotia. Ashley Danielle McLellan, Dartmouth. Cody Charles McLellan, Antigonish. Fred Riley McNeil, Lower Sackville, Nova Scotia. Catherine Elizabeth MacDonald, Cornwall, Ontario. Abigail Marlene McQuaid, Richmond, Prince Edward Island. Riley John Edward Monroe, Antigonish. Simon John Murphy, Quispamsis, New Brunswick. Alexander Daniel Neufer, Stratford, Prince Edward Island. Gabriel Laurie O'Brien, Fort McMurray. Kasha Jean Orshuk, Sydney, Nova Scotia. Samantha Gerald Peters, Stittsville, Ontario. Lindsay Ann Power, Mulgrave. Jessica Caitlin Sharkey, Ottawa. Courtney Melissa Sharp, Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. Luke Allen Swanwick, New Glasgow. Emma Jane Walker, Cole Harbour. For the degree Bachelor of Arts in Human Kinetics with distinction, I present to you Dina Spivak, Richmond Hill, Ontario. Nathaniel Simir, Tackle, Calgary. Kevin Michelle Timmons, Calgary. Jessica Patricia Ann Werner, Marmora, Ontario. For the degree Bachelor of Arts in Human Kinetics with honors, I present to you Shelby Andrea Kilcollins, Carleton Place, Ontario. For the degree Bachelor of Arts in Human Kinetics with first class honors, I present to you Alexander Andre Sear, Abram Village, Prince Edward Island. Madam Chancellor, for the Diploma in Engineering, I present to you Stuart Michael Allen, Halifax. Cecil Samuel Ash, Cranbrook, British Columbia, winner of the J. Wallace Farrell Memorial Award for Engineering, Engineers Nova Scotia Entrance Scholarship. James Winston Ash, Cranbrook, British Columbia. Oh, there are. Erin Elizabeth O'Coin, Orleans. Amy Ann Kutchman, Brooklyn, Ontario. Eric Davis Denneker, Niagara Falls. Logan Philip Doucette, St. Andrews. Brad John Ferrari, Wasaga Beach, Ontario. Molly Annie Catherine Flynn, St. Andrews. Dan Francesco Gasparado, Black Point, Nova Scotia. Jeremy Daniel Graham, Kingsport, Nova Scotia, winner of the Engineers Nova Scotia Award. Justin Kenneth Graham, Trenton, Nova Scotia. Olivia Janelle Gregan, Hardwick, New Brunswick. Brianna Michelle Heavenan, Antigonish. Benjamin Rodney Paul Hillier, Port Hawkesbury. Brady Alexander Jacobs, Fall River. Riel Avi Detremont Jensen, Okotoks, Alberta. Liam Douglas Kell, Antigonish. Jeremy Clayton Kinney, Anfield, Nova Scotia. Keith Allen Litbeater, Calgary. Jeffrey Farron Leonard, Halifax. Andrew Dougal William McDonald, Halifax. Camden Kenneth Charles McDonald, Sydney. Keegan Scott McDonald, Aurelia, Ontario. Liam John Angus McDonald, Halifax. Lauren Haley McDonald, Timbalea, Nova Scotia, winner of the Engineers Nova Scotia Award, J. Wallace Farrell Memorial Award for Engineering. Brian William McGillivray, Antigonish. Andrea Marie McNeil, Sydney Mines. Dyson Morales Michelle, Chapel Island, Nova Scotia. Martin Lawrence McKenna, Apohaki, New Brunswick. Eleanor Chloe McSporran, Fredericton. John Calverley Milford, De Winton, Alberta. Adam Vincent Mitchell, Dartmouth. Jade Alexa Alskamp, Moncton. Braden Horst Poirier, Calgary. Bratton Liam Potter, Trenton. Wade David Quinn, River Herbert, Nova Scotia. Brett Erica Reed, Pupnico, Nova Scotia. Hannah Rose Sampson, Louisdale, Nova Scotia. Carly Judith Spears, Port Hood, Nova Scotia. Zach Spencer Tarr, Calgary. Adam James Talton, Hammonds Plain, Nova Scotia. Are you ready? Cameron John Charles Turner, Dartmouth.
The Chancellor, Dr. Susan Crocker, will confer the degrees and diplomas given.
Let's make this official. By the authority vested in me as Chancellor of the University, and in accordance with the recommendation of its academic faculties, I hereby admit you to the degrees and diplomas to which you have qualified, with all the rights, honors, and privileges thereunto appertaining. Ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you the class of Spring 2017.
Madam Chancellor, on behalf of the graduating class, Ms. Victoria Sondre will address convocation.
Good morning, Madam Chancellor, President MacDonald, distinguished guests, faculty, staff, administrators, and all who have supported us throughout our journeys. Welcome to family, parents, and grandparents who have come from near and far for this special weekend. And a warm welcome to my fellow graduates. It is my pleasure to speak to you this morning as a member of the graduating class. The first law of thermodynamics states that energy is never created or destroyed, only transferred from one form to another. I was afraid of hearing groans after the word thermodynamics, but laughs, that's a good sign. As I have learned from studying chemistry in my last 4 years, this law governs all processes in the universe. So, what is energy? Energy is the ability to do work. Energy is the ability to make things happen. We wouldn't be here today without putting in work, or if we weren't driven by our desire to be change makers. We are blessed by an environment here at St. FX that enables us to be agents of change. We start societies about issues that excite us. We make someone's day through random acts of kindness. We help our peers succeed through tutoring and collaboration. And we unite as one in the face of challenging times. We are able to make things happen not only on the local scale, but also on a national and global level. As St. FX graduates, we belong to a community in which alumni come together from all over the world to strengthen this network. We belong to an engaged body that travels to developing countries for service learning. We belong to a support system which works alongside the town of Antigonish to welcome and support Syrian families. And on our first day on campus, we join the family that greeted us, our parents, our grandparents, and our siblings in colors and with cheers far too bright for 8 a.m. That alone proved that we have the energy and the ability to make things happen. Look around the room this morning. We are surrounded by an incredible mosaic of students with a wide variety of skills, talents, and abilities. However, we are all dressed alike in the same black robes, distinguished only by the color of our hoods. We are receiving degrees and diplomas like every other university graduate across the country. So what makes us unique? What makes Xaverian alumni such successful members of society? It is not only the energy expended and the work gone into obtaining our degrees, but the privilege, the pride, and the purpose that comes with bearing our X-ring. It would be impossible to give a commencement speech without some mention of the ring. Our very own president, Kent MacDonald, says, "To some, it is simply a ring. To us, to those who have walked this campus and shared this journey, it reminds us that St. FX is more than a school. It's a place of purpose where people learn and earn the skills, the knowledge, and the attributes they need to make the world a better place." Yes, to make the world a better place, we will continue changing, adapting, and transforming from one form to another, as stated by the law of thermodynamics. We have faced many roadblocks and challenges, but have always been supported throughout our journey. At this time, I would like to ask all faculty and staff to stand to be recognized for their contribution to our success and helping us be here in this room today. With the guidance of these individuals, along with our support network of family and friends, we have faced each challenge with courage. If we have picked ourselves up more times than we have fallen, then I would say that we have made it through successfully. No one ever said that energy transformations were easy. Today, we ignite the fire of our energy, which will continue to burn bright and stay with us long after we depart on our various adventures. I wish you all the best of luck on your journeys, and I look forward to witnessing the sparks that your energy will spread around the world. Thank you, and congratulations.
The President of the St. FX Alumni Association, Mr. Glenn Horn.
Good morning, Dr. Crocker, Dr. McDonald, Bishop Dunn, Dr. Syllaboy, faculty, staff, family, friends, and of course you, the class of 2017. On behalf of the St. FX Alumni Association, it's my absolute pleasure to congratulate each of you on your academic achievement and to welcome you into one of the world's most established and connected alumni networks. More than 45,000 strong, we're absolutely delighted to have you on board. As alumni, we want to strongly encourage you to be an active member in our Xaverian family. The one thing we ask, that when you leave this place and arrive in your new home, become engaged, just as you have here. Take your knowledge, your skills, your thoughtfulness, and put it to work. Lead change and inspire, just as you have here. With your degree in one hand and your X-ring on the other, you go forward. After your tenure at St. FX, you have the skills, you have the courage, confidence to face whatever comes next. And from time to time, when in your own thoughts you're in doubt, just remember that we're here. They call us a Xaverian family for a reason. We're here to support you as your collective potential takes root and changes the world. Now, my primary reason for being here today is to admit you into the Alumni Association, an organization that is over 120 years old with representation across this great country and around the world. To do that properly, I've brought some friends.
Hi there, I'm Mark Rodrigue. I'm class of 2008 and here to welcome you from the Toronto chapter of the St. FX Alumni Association.
Hi, I'm Natalie Kenny. Welcome from Montreal. Greetings from Newfoundland. My name is Gina Hartman.
Hi, my name is Jared Bowles and greetings from Vancouver.
So welcome from Fredericton, New Brunswick. Hi, I'm Alexia Tedesco, class of 2009, and greetings from Calgary, Alberta.
Welcome from Toronto. My name is Andrew Howlett, class of 2002, and I've been coming back to St. FX for homecoming since 2008. And every time it's great to see familiar faces and check out the new spots in town and to meet the new students who are doing exciting stuff here on campus.
Greetings from Halifax. Hi, I'm Sue Kylie Chisholm. I graduated with a Bachelor of Business in 1992.
I am Meg Catalano. I am the chapter president for the Montreal Alumni Chapter.
My name is Paulette McKenna. I'm from the class of 1982, and I'm bringing you greetings from the Eastern Cape Breton chapter.
Greetings from London, Ontario. My name is Roger Campbell, class of 1989.
While here at X, I had the opportunity to actually get to know my profs by name, and I felt that they were friends by the end of it. So much so that when I had to go back to school 20 years later, I used them as my references. And I don't know a lot of schools that could say that.
It's coming home. It's just being able to come back to my happy place. And as the sign says, smile, you're at X.
So congratulations and welcome.
Congratulations and welcome.
The Vicar of the Founder, Bishop Brian Dunn, will offer the benediction.
Special guests, graduates, and all who are connected with St. FX University and Coady International Institute. First of all, congratulations to all the graduates of 2017. Congratulations especially as well to Dr. Alan Syliboy, who has received honorary recognition for his service to the larger community. A few weeks ago, Father Sid Mifflin died. He spent more than 40 years here at the university as professor in the Department of Education and as Dean of Students. I began to think of the various priests who spent a significant portion of their lives committed to the students of this university. Father Jerry Rousel, who taught here from 1956 and was connected to the university until his death last October. Father Malcolm McDonnell, who began his time here in 1945 and served the university for 70 years. Father Alec McKinnon, who began work at the Cody Institute in 1975 and was connected until his death in 2011. Father John Gillis, who began at the university in 1938 and spent his entire adult life connected here. Father Greg McLeod, who began at St. Francis Xavier Junior College in Sydney in 1974 and continued his connection with Cape Breton University until his death last week. Other priests are still alive who are connected with this university. Father Greg McKinnon, who began in 1954 and continued his connection up to a few years ago while he lived at Mockler. Father Rod B. McDonald, who began on faculty in 1960 and continued his connection up to a few years ago while he lived at Mockler. By the 1960s, there were 50 priests serving at the university. Other priests, together with those who served in chaplaincy, as well as the Sisters of St. Martha and the Congregation of Notre Dame, provided a significant portion of service for the first 100 years of this university and were instrumental in providing the Catholic character of this university. As we move forward with the virtual absence of priests and religious in this university, I wonder how the Catholic character and heritage will be carried on and respected. Undoubtedly, this will happen as faculty, administration, and students continue to recognize the importance of the values connected with the motto, "Whatsoever things are true." We need to continue to be committed to social justice foundation of this university, challenging us to be aware of the needs within our society and our world. We need to continue to be committed to those virtues of honesty, humility, and graciousness that our President spoke about earlier. At this convocation, let us be grateful for the people who have gone before us and have laid the foundation for this university. May this time at St. Francis Xavier continue to form you as you face the opportunities that will present themselves in your lives. Let us pray. I take a moment to be grateful for the blessings that the Lord has given each one of us. Gracious God, you are the source of all gifts. You inspire every good work, and through you we are given the strength and guidance to complete every task. In your wisdom and love, you surround us with the mysteries of the universe, and you give us all that we need to discover these wonders. You continually send people into our lives who assist us to discover your truth and to help us appreciate our relationship with you and with one another. Send your Spirit upon this year's graduates of St. Francis Xavier University. Fill them with your wisdom and blessing. Grant that as they graduate from this university, they may persevere and convey whatsoever things are true. Give them gratitude for all who have supported them. We ask this blessing through God, who is the way, the truth, and the life, in our lives forever and ever.
The Chancellor, Dr. Susan Crocker, will close convocation.
Graduates, congratulations. Victoria Sandre was an inspired choice for class speaker. A lot of energy there in that energy discussion. Dr. Syliboy, we so respect your achievements as an artist and as a humanitarian. Congratulations. Dr. Smith-Palmer, your Outstanding Teaching Award is a wonderful message about commitment to our students. Sorry. I've just lost my page. I knew this would happen. It's pretty simple. Anyway, this is a spectacular day. All the important words have in fact been said. It's been a focus on you and your achievements. You now walk out this door, proud Severians, and we go with you. Congratulations. Convocation is now over.
The audience is asked to remain in their places until the academic procession has left the hall. The platform party will leave first, followed by faculty, and then the graduates. Graduates will move directly to the Aux Gym of the Olin Center. Thereafter, guests are asked to leave the hall as promptly as possible so that the hall may be prepared for this afternoon's convocation. Once again, thank you parents, families, and friends for joining us, and a special thank you and congratulations to all the new St. FX graduates.